The EPCHS, heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPCHS.com.
And welcome into the EP Podcast. My name is Chris Lanuti, and this is your weekend update. A quick look at what's going on in and around Evergreen Park to get you ready for a weekend. It's not the regular 30 minutes of good that is the EP Podcast, coming out each and every Monday. If you have not subscribed, I suggest you do so. You don't want to miss any episodes. And we have a brand new website now available at theeppodcast.com. And I expect all kinds of new bells and whistles to be added to it within the coming days and weeks. It's all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, located in an iconic building at 95th and Pulaski. The First National Bank of Evergreen Park knows that having a bank that can deliver under pressure makes all the difference. And when the pandemic hit, local businesses needed help. They had those Paycheck Protection Program loans. First National Bank of Evergreen Park worked to help 13 local businesses get more than $3 million in loans and save more than 200 local jobs. They can also make a difference for you with personalized banking solutions you can rely on. Learn more at bankevergreenpark.com/4U, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Evergreen Park High School football concluded this past weekend, but that doesn't mean we're not checking in one more Friday with head coach Jerry Verde. He's coming up very soon. Before that, your weekend weather. The day this episode comes out, Friday the 30th, it is sunny and clear. At least that's what they tell me. If it's pouring rain, remember it's a podcast and I recorded it the day before. On Saturday, the forecast is 81 degrees. That's right, it's going to jump up nearly 30 degrees for the high. And that's going to be because of a lot of wind, warm wind blowing in, getting up to about 24, 25 miles an hour. And on Sunday, it stays in the 80s at 83 degrees and partly cloudy. Monday morning, when you wake up with the EP Podcast, the full 30-minute episode, big guest going to be on it. Glenn Panuski from The Village talking about the status of 4th of July and the parade and the fireworks and what's going on with Day in the Park and some new events that are coming in the later part of the summer and early fall. The new superintendent of District 124 going to be on this show, and we're going to check in with the Evergreen Park Food Pantry. And while you're listening to that, the weather will be cooler, 67 with thunderstorms. Looks like I might not have to coach that T-ball game. Aw, shucks. Join us on the phone line right now, head coach of Evergreen Park High School football. The spring season, has come to a conclusion as of this past weekend, but Jerry Verde wrapping it up with us right here on the EP Podcast. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing fine.
So, it didn't go the way you wanted it to go. Yeah, you end up losing to Eisenhower, and it looks like the score was a little lopsided. What happened?
Well, we ended up losing 23-7, and we were in the game right up until into the fourth quarter, and then they ended up breaking another run, and then it kind of put things to be a three-possession game. And at that point in the fourth quarter, it's always kind of difficult. Whenever you have a two-possession game, you always have a chance. But once it got to that three-possession, it was kind of out of reach. But that was kind of typical for us for the entire year. Of all 6 games, we were absolutely in all 6 of them. And at no point in time were we outclassed or even outplayed. I have to say, during a game, it's just we didn't execute sometimes, and it cost you. We had multiple situations throughout the entire year where we had driven down and we just couldn't find a way to get the ball into the end zone. And usually after because it's such an emotional game at the high school level, when something like that happens and you've held the ball for, let's just say, 5 minutes, and you get all the way down to the 15 or, the red zone, for everybody that watches on Sunday, you get into that red zone and you come away with nothing, or there's a turnover, it deflates your mojo. And for us, that happened quite a few times. And then there sometimes can be a defensive letdown after that, and now you're talking about what ends up being a 14-point swing, and it's hard to recover from, and we did, but we left a couple games out on the field, in the fourth quarter, driving to win the game, and our record could have very easily been 4-2 or even 5-1, I would have to say, but the bright side to everything that went on this season is that, first of all, our seniors got 6 games to play. They got the experience of having a senior season and the memories and everything that went along with that. And then because we're so lopsided, junior oriented as far as, our numbers, and we had mostly juniors starting, and we had some sophomores and even a freshman that was getting playing time. And all these experiences that we got during the spring are going to pay dividends for the fall. They've got a much better idea on what it takes to not just be in a game, but what it's really going to take to win that game. And that's what we build off of, moving forward.
So when you look towards next fall, and it's a quick turnaround, spring season, you got summer, and you're right back at it in the fall. So it's going to be interesting for you, just kind of figuring out, how do I transition into really getting ready for the next season? And it's going to be a lot quicker than it normally is for you. But you have an awful lot of juniors, as you said, and sophomores and some freshmen that are coming back next year. Is there anybody that stands out to you that you're like, I'm waiting to see what happens with this kid? There's a lot of potential there. Another year, another season, you might see him blossom into something. Is it something overall you look at with your team? How do you view things going into next season?
Well, all of the above would be correct. We have some very talented juniors that are going to end up being 3-year starters by the time it's all said and done. At the very top of the list is a young man named Michael Torres. He's played outside linebacker, inside linebacker, played some running back, and plays a slot for us. He's been a great player for us already for 2 years, and it's only going to get better. James Williams is our starting running back. He plays inside linebacker. He'll be a 3-year starter. And James even started some games as a freshman, so he's like a 3.5-year starter. Our quarterback, Devin Turner, it'll be his 3rd year starting, and he showed a lot of progress this year as a junior. Aiden McDermott, who plays center for us, plays some defensive line. He'll be a 3-year starter. And there's other kids that are also on that list. Nate Johnson is going to also be a 3-year starter by the time it's all said and done. And so the amount of experience that these players have gotten, without a doubt, will pay dividends. And based on what we experienced this spring, is that there's still work to do. I mean, we still need to get stronger. We still need to get faster. And there's just some items as far as execution goes that we need to get better at, and they know that, they understand that now, and living through the emotions of coming up short is motivation for them to take things to the next level. And to a certain extent, you always got to try to find a way to see the glass as being half full. And that for us going into the fall, it's, if we would have gone 4-2 or 5-1, then there's a chance that some of these guys might not have, thought that they needed to put as much work in as we do to be ready for the fall. So maybe the silver lining for our record is the fact that we're going to work a little bit harder in the off season, as short as it might be.
Head coach Jerry Verde of Evergreen Park High School football. Before I let you go, you're one of many, many high school football coaches that had to deal with a very, very different season and no postseason and playing in the spring and different restrictions and all these things, but kind of put a bow on it for me and to everybody that's listening, and explain how important was it that you guys were able to actually get out there and get these kids out there and have them play some semblance of a season this year?
Well, it's immensely important, not only from just the physical aspect of so many young people, and that's why I do applaud the IHSA for trying to get all the seasons in, because so many of our young people in the state have been inactive, physically inactive. And as we all know, that not only hurts a young person physically, but it also hurts them mentally. And the fact that we're able to get the kids, involved in something that's bigger than themselves, where they can be in a team setting, where we could get the physical and the mental, and for the 6 weeks we had of games and the 3 weeks we had to prepare and the little bit of training we did, let's just say we had them for 2.5 months, for them to have that purpose for 2.5 months, where it wasn't just watching the news and getting the COVID numbers and things like that, I think it was immensely important. And I know that they'll appreciate it. They might not even appreciate it as much right now, but 10 years down the line, they'll be like, hey, at least we got to play. At least we got to do something. And it was just important for all the coaches that were involved. We were looking forward to being able to work with these seniors one last time. And that goes for not just football, but all the other sports that are getting in these shortened seasons and just trying to, be active. So, all the time we spent was indeed a blessing, and we all have the memories that moving forward that come from that.
Coach, I appreciate you jumping on with us and sharing your feelings, and just joining us throughout the entire season has been really nice to sit back and kind of follow along with the team, especially during these extraordinary times. And I look forward to what I believe will be a much more normal schedule for you guys in the fall, and I hope you'll come back and join us when that happens.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Remember, every Friday up at EPCHS Field, free COVID testing, 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. at 89th and Kedzie in the northwest corner of EPCHS. Drive-through, easy mouth swab testing results in 3 to 4 days, sponsored by Cook County Commissioners Stanley Moore, John Daly, and also Mayor James Sexton. Do not forget that if you're looking for a vaccine, the Moderna vaccine is available at Evergreen Park Pharmacy, located on the first floor of the Mary Potter Pavilion at Little Company of Mary Hospital, 2850 West 95th Street. You can register online. Details are on the village website, or you can give them a call if you need help signing up, 708-229-3341. Leave a message, your name, your phone number. They'll get back to you and help you get a shot. More details and also other places you can find a vaccine at evergreenpark-ill.com. As of the day this show comes out, registration is now open for full-day day camp from the Recreation Department for this summer. These are kids that would be entering the first grade through the sixth grade next school year. And parents must bring a report card to registration so they can see what grade they're going into. They will be extending normal business hours on the day this show comes out, Friday the 30th, from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Go to the community center and go sign up. If you have any questions, 708-229-3373. And the farmers market returns less than a week from now on Thursday, May 6th. Get out there to EPCHS Field as it comes back every Thursday from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. As I said, so much going on the next episode of the EP podcast. The new superintendent of District 124 on the show, Glenn Panuski from the Village, with what is going to be happening this summer in terms of events in Evergreen Park and what is going to be delayed and what may be canceled. We're also going to find out about the Evergreen Park Dog Park. And we check in with our good friends over at the Evergreen Park Food Bank. That and much more ahead. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast You can do that anywhere podcasts can be found, or go direct to the EPPodcast.com and pick from the list of different apps that you can use to listen to the show, or just listen right off of the website. Should be a warm weekend. Get some stuff done outside. We'll see you when the work week begins again on Monday, right here on the EP Podcast, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPPodcast.com. Bye-bye, everybody.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPPodcast.com.